Haha. So I made a tier list. Something that we're gonna kind of do today. And the tier list is basically gonna be only a couple ranks. I mean, if there's any other ones you want to, well, any other tiers, I think I have to go back and make a new one. But yeah, I think this is fine for now. We got peak, peak, peak. We got fantastic fantasy. We got otaku food, which basically, I mean, just you can have on, and it gives you what you need. You get some type of connection. You usually have like a favorite character or two. There's something in there that usually gives you some type of joy. Background noise, animes that you can literally just play in the background and not even care if they're really, you don't really need to pay attention too much to what's going on, because it's not like it's super crazy stuff, or it's not like you need to know exactly what's going on constantly. And then go back to the drawing board. Basically, animes that they could use some work on. I already know which anime is going down here for starters. I can already imagine. There's so the animes that we have here are actually all the animes that we've watched, along with Look Back. That's a movie. It's not an anime, but I want to include it on this list, not only because it did come out relatively recently, but on top of that, it is phenomenal. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was fucking fantastic. Especially like in terms of just an anime movie, and just a movie in general. One of my big qualms with movies is that they don't feel like they like end well. It feels like stuff sometimes has to get pushed and rushed always, because they need to make that time crunch. With what it did in the time that it had, it was amazing. But yeah, we have various animes that we have been watching on stream. And then I even have some on here that I've been watching on my own. What is it? I always fuck it up, but the Alvarez something, the one with the guy the guy that got trapped in a cave, had to become a Chad, got a bunch of women and like a vampire girlfriend, shit like that. And yeah, basically he went from, he's like the original Solo leveling Riz Chad up. But anyways, we're going to talk about these animes a bit. I'm going to give my thoughts about the seasons, about kind of how they've been going, where I think they might be going, and more or less just placing them on this tier list. And if you guys have any opinions, if you have anything to say, don't be afraid to chime up. Y'all been watching these with me, and also some of these I'm sure you might have seen on your own. So the first one we actually have on this list, funny enough, is Blue Lock, the second season. I have been watching this on my own. Now, a lot of people dislike it. Because of the animation. I, for one, am not too... I do agree the animation is worse than the first season, for sure. There's a lot less movement scenes. But, like, by that, I mean, like, there are times when you literally have people just standing with, like, an effect going on around them. Like, they'll have, like, the fire... Like, they'll have, like, the flames and shit like that. Or you'll see, like, Isagi's eyes change. Hold on. Let's see if I can... So, in the original Blue Lock, we had characters like Bach who are doing crazy, like, footwork constantly and doing interesting stuff. Like, it would still have still shots, but the still shots would be like after they've literally done some insane footwork, or there's some crazy movement going on between the characters. And contrarily, we see that not being the case here anymore. So I'm just gonna show you real quick what I mean. Like, see? Yeah. They kick up. Yeah. And like the thing is yeah, the animation itself, like the animation literally looks different, does it not? Like, it looks in a way like almost like CGI it should be. I want to say a little. It looks different, a lot different. Looks like they're almost 3D models. But yeah. yeah. See, this is what I didn't like. This was one of my main complaints is that you literally had situations where you could have had like fancy footwork and nice maneuvering and everything, but instead they just like yeah they go he just teleports to his side, man stuck there reaching for him, and then he teleports forward. Like there's not really any continuous movement. It's just like frame of movement, like sliding the person over. Then a frame of the next frame is them sliding forward. There's no actual steps really taking in between. I found that I've read the manga. I am reading the manga. I love where it is, and I really like the story. I think it's really cool. It's a really fun like sports anime and everything like that. It's very unique and like the way that they attack, where the way they tackle things, especially with the manga and how we're at a part where Isagi is basically at the level of geniuses, but he has to figure out but he himself is not a genius, so he has to figure out how to outsmart geniuses. But yeah, so the story itself is not bad. I love the story. I think the story is great, especially and like I think that's one of the reasons why I'm even still watching it currently is the fact that I think I can already say I already know where I'm gonna put it because I'm about to say it. Yeah, I put it on like it plays while like I might be doing something else, but I like listening to it. I know what's going on. I want to know like kind of what's happening, so I will pay attention here and there. Inputting like special powers or special maneuvers into what is more or less a regular game of fucking football or soccer, depending on how you want to say it. Regardless of that, well, regardless of like whether you want it to look cool, just think about like how people like seeing things more or less nowadays. So yeah, I'm starting to ramble now. I do really, like I said, I think it's a good anime, and I think that there's good stuff about it. However, I will say, it's kind of gonna be either background noise for me or otaku food. I'm thinking right now I'm gonna put it just to be safe in otaku food because there are times I want to pay attention and I do like the story. I'm thinking maybe put it down because I'm looking at the other ones and where I would put it. I'm gonna put it in background noise. I'm gonna put it in background noise. And for the next one, we have Yakuza Fiance. Now, I have been absolutely loving this anime. It is by far a amazing, like, it's really funny. Like, now, is it the best anime of the season so far? Definitely not. Definitely not. There are things I don't like about it, clearly. Now, in terms of where we are currently, I think there's like one more episode left in this season, but I do think it is a really good story, and I think it's a good story. I think it has good animation, but it is also, and I think like, and hold up, before I even say like, it's just a romance. It is a romance anime. I will say that, but it is very different from what you see in normal romance anime. So it kind of feeds that itch to a degree. I'm trying to think what would I really like. What kind of critiques would I give against it? Because it's not like I dislike characters to a degree. I actually really like all the characters for the most part. I think they're all really well done. I would say that give Shoma more time to shine because I think he's kind of becoming more of a background character than he should be. But for now, that's kind of where I'm thinking of it. One sec. I'm trying to think of where I would put this because it's not like, it's nothing incredibly amazing, you know? It's nothing where I'd say, oh, this is like very unique and very like original stuff. I'm going to put this in fantastic fantasy right now. I feel like it could drop down to otaku food at some point, depending on where some of these other ones might lie. It might either end up being at the end of Fantastic Fantasy or going to the beginning of otaku food. We'll see. It's up for debate. It's up for debate, and I'm open to suggestions, gamers. But yeah, I'm thinking that's where I put it. I think the studio is doing a really good job with the animation though. And again, this isn't like something where fight. It is a Yakuza, but fighting isn't like the main premise of this anime. It's kind of like Sakamoto Days, at least in the sense that like it's a slice of life in a criminal world. And for someone that lived in a criminal world or is living in a criminal world, but I'm actually very excited to see like where it finishes. But is there anything really that I want to say puts it out above others? Other than the actual fact that like the actual romance itself is very unique and very twisted, I think that's kind of the main selling point of this, which makes it very. You know what? I'm talking myself out of it. I'm putting it at the top of Otaku Food. It might move up. It might move up depending on other ones, but we shall see. But this is actually the Dungeon Meshi. I would say again. So I will. I will say I have not finished the newest season of Dungeon Meshi. I did get like so this one and the Alphareza, these two, I have not gotten through all of the new season yet. Granted, I know they're not over, they're not completed, but I have not finished them, I haven't finished them, and I'm not caught up. So I will say that take this with a grain of salt because I want to make that apparent. I really like from where I'm at. The biggest thing that I liked so far was the Freya, and what's her name, the girl from the inn that like Belle like helps and saves and whatever. You end up finding out that that was actually like her. Well, that they had swapped places and that they were constantly swapping places and all this other. Basically, there was a big fucking reveal, and I thought that was probably one of the coolest reveals I had seen in a while. I was not expecting that. I did not think like I genuinely thought that was like that she was her own person, that wasn't Freya. And then once she like literally dropped the act and then what is it? Belle also being kind of what's the word? Not excommunicated. I guess it could be like excommunicated with his god and everything like that from his god. But I would say this is probably in fantastic. I would say this is fantastic fantasy. I'm very tempted to put it in peak, but I want to keep peak reserved for maybe 2. Yeah, because I mean you guys can probably imagine which 2 I'm thinking of are going to be the peak of the series, the peak of the season. But another reason why I don't want to put it in here is because it does have all this precursor stuff. There is a lot of build up to this point where you're getting these type of reveals that make them so impactful. But I think that's where I'd put Dungeon Meshi because it does have a lot of good stuff going, and I think these reveals and twists that we're having is all from the payout that we've been getting throughout the whole series itself. If this was just like literally the first season and like a bunch of stuff and like I don't know, like you're introduced to Belle being like a well-known adventurer or whatever, and he gets manipulated. Like, yeah, I mean, it would probably feel a little less impactful. That's for sure. So I feel like I would put it there. Now it's very similar with this too. I said I have not finished this one. That is true. I have not finished this. I think I'm on episode 5. I just finished the episode where they overthrew the what's it called? Where they overthrew the empire with the bunny people. They helped the bunny people overthrow the empire. It was a coup d'etat, a revolution, some would say. Now, I will say I like this anime, but it's not my favorite. I literally watch it kind of just to watch it for the most part now. I loved the first season. I think the first season was definitely my favorite. But then after that, it's kind of becoming a little less interesting as like the time goes on. Like the jokes wear off. It takes a while to get some of the seasons released. So like I literally don't remember some of the stuff that was like happening when when I started watching it, I had to rewatch the last episode to get like a good idea of what kind of was going on. Well, the bunny girl does get a lot of character development because I mean it does focus on. Obviously, I'm like halfway, not halfway. A third of the way through. There we go, a third of the way through, pretty much, of the season. So I can say that like it's focusing on her currently, but I cannot say more than that. I wouldn't be surprised if they do other stuff. They usually do. This anime usually covers a couple different like arcs, I guess you could say. I don't think it's so bad. I don't think it's bad. Like that's the thing. I don't think it's bad. I just think that it's kind of background noise. I think it's something I could have on and just be like, yeah, that's cool. That's all right. Now this next one, I am very sad about. I am very, very sad about. So this is Prince of Tennis. This is the new Prince of Tennis that got released recently, and I watched probably like like three or four like four episodes actually. I think I'm on the fourth episode, and I just can't finish it. I'll be honest, I just can't finish it right now. It is so like just appalling. It's bad, dude. It is bad in the sense that like what is it? After there's been a Prince of Tennis movie. There's been an original series that's like actually like 100+ episodes long that I did watch. I watched that. I watched the other relatively recent series that they made of Prince of Tennis. I watched that. I will say this is the worst one out of everything, easily. It's really a battle between Ryoma and Tezuka, who is was the former captain of their tennis club, and he's in Germany, like he's on Team Germany and shit like that. Everyone else is just kind of ancillary. They don't have the skills that match it. I don't need to go on too long about this. I've been watching this series for fucking a long time, like a long, long time. So in the end, I think this anime, just in general, just this one, not in general, this anime, this season in general, will be going back to the drawing board. This is our first, I will repeat, this is our first anime that is going back to the drawing board because it really needs a lot of work. Like even Echiro's team, or I keep saying even Echiro's team or Ryoma's team, it is terrible. Like he's on the team with a bunch of new people, and like his brother, apparently he has like an older brother that gets introduced. See, and that's one of the things I'll mention that in a second. But his team that he's with, like they're all just so boring. There's nothing that's been really like shown about them. They haven't done anything. There's been no real connection between Ryoma and any of like the other characters on the team. Characters that we are comfortable with, that we have come to know, and they just seem so like easily like washed by characters that can just straight up create an air pocket in space that stops the ball from moving wherever he wants it to be. So it's kind of like, yeah, very rough, very hard to deal with. And I think that there are definitely things that need to be flushed out better. So we're sending it back to the drawing board. Sorry, guys. Sorry. You have to work on this again. It definitely needs some work. We're going to move on to the next one. That's enough hate on the new Prince of Tennis. On to something nice. Now, Blue Wolves of Mibu. I am very much on that like just neutral mindset. I'm not in the whole like, oh, I love it, oh, I hate it, this needs improvement, this doesn't need improvement type of thing. It is kind of just middle of the line. It's giving me exactly what I've expected the entirety of it, and there's been really no like crazy reveals or changes that I'm like, this is so cool, this is so unique, like this makes me get up out of my seat and start to cheer for it. There's been nothing like that. I will say though, I think I even said it in my initial video of making these, of what I was expecting from these animes. This is kind of like a history style anime, but it's just using the fact of like the concept as like a packaging to tell the story that they want to tell about about these particular characters, which it's doing. It is very much doing all of that, and I think it's doing that very well. I think the animation is also really good. I will say the characters, other than like, other than the core cast of Neo, Taro, and the other kid, um, not many other like the characters are really identifiable. I mean, you got Seshizo, who is like the boss of them, who obviously looks very different and he acts very different from all of them. You got Hijikata and you got Okija or Okita Soji, and they're like Neo's not like his guardians, like his teachers, something like the caretakers pretty much. And they are relatively seen more often. Other characters, there are a lot of characters in the Miburo. And like only a couple of them are actually relevant. Like we literally watched a episode with a guy trying to like get a girl, or trying to like, it was a secondary side plot. It was a B plot for the episode, but he was trying to get a girl and all that. And honestly, I don't remember the guy's name at all. I don't remember his name at all. I remember his backstory to a degree, in the sense that he didn't he want actually. Do I remember his backstory? Not really. Not really. I don't even remember his backstory that much. I do remember the fact that he got that really weird haircut. Oh no, I do. I do. He followed another one of the samurais who was like a teacher. He actually was a student at that guy's dojo and followed him when he left to join the Miburo. He went to join it too. The action that we do see though, it's all right. It's okay. There's some parts of it that are good, some parts of it that are bad, some parts of it that I'm like, I wish that they had shown it. There are, and I'm being very specific about that. There are, I forget like what scenes they were, but there have been at least 2 scenes where I'm like, okay, I wish that they had shown the fight a little bit more than I'd ended it as quickly as they did, or they like cut away from it very quickly, and the next time we cut back to it, like it's completely different. What it's supposed to be doing is focusing on these kids and their journey and how their relationship with society is shaping their perspective and their actions. I think all in all, if I was to really give this like a straight up rating though, I would say this is kind of one of those down the line anime where it gives you exactly what you expect, nothing more, nothing less. Like I said, I don't think we've really spent enough time with the anime yet to really understand with the, not just the anime, with the story yet, to understand what the end goal of it is. But I will say it is a fun watch, and when they do actually reveal, or when they do actually have some type of conflict, they do elaborate on what's going on and why it's important. Either way, I think all in all, it is a very good anime. Now, well, it is a good anime. Now, would I say it's better than Yakuza Fiance? Probably not. I actually like the story and the premise of Yakuza Fiance more than I'm liking Ao no Miro, which is pretty wild because I do like historical animes that cover like actual people a lot. But I do think this is lacking in the character development. I think the plot is relatively what is it? I think the plot is, it's not like bad, but it is very basic. It is predictable, and more or less you can just kind of forget a lot of the characters and only focus on like five. But would I say it's worse? Is it like really worse? Like it's better than Blue Lock. It's definitely better than Blue Lock season 2. I'm thinking this might be a good one for otaku food, because it's not like it's a lot worse than Yakuza Fiance. It's not like it's terrible in the comparison. Like, and actually, hold on, I'm gonna flip these two because I think Alvareza, I think that's better background noise than Blue Lock. So I will, and Alvareza, while I have not finished it, I will say what I am currently seeing, I am liking more than what I'm liking Blue Lock. Blue Lock is just having that issue where they really are not doing their best. They are not putting their best foot forward. There is a lot more that I think that they can do with it, but that's going to be that for that. That's why I think we should move this one up. Even though I butcher the name every single time, and that's not even how you pronounce the name of this anime, but fuck it. Weeball. Now for this next one though. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. For this next one, gamers, we got Bleach. And not just Bleach, but the 1,000-Year Blood War arc of Bleach. Not just the 1,000-Year Blood War arc of the Bleach, but the conflict of the Bleach. One of my favorite things to watch of this season. And then on top of that, it is by far one of my favorite seasons, I guess you could say, of Bleach period. Segments of Bleach period. There has been so many good things, and I wasn't sure that it would actually beat the second season. I'll be honest with you. I did not. I not like I didn't think it would, but there was so much good stuff in there. We got, I think it's Shukaku, but the girl with the woman with the arms that made the Hakushos that the Soul Reapers wear. Her Bankai was insane, along with seeing Shinji's. Both of those Bankais were wild, and we got a lot, just good fights, good animation, good interactions all around. But I will say this season has been by far better. The way that they're representing it, they're making it seem like it truly is just a melee with stuff that's going on constantly, left and right. The Pernator, we just watched the Pernator and Mayuri fight finish up. I will say, I feel like that fight wrapped up a little too quickly. These fights are wrapping up relatively quickly in like an episode and a half. It seems it's gonna be like, like an episode and a half, per fight, which I'm not fully against. I think that's actually a really good pacing. I just think some of the stuff becomes a little hard to read, like how Pernator was defeated. I still have to go back and look in the manga. But I feel like it seems like it's a little bit faster than it is in the anime than it is in the manga, and like it does detract from it a little bit in my fight, because that's one of my favorite fights, period. The Kyoraku and Leo Barrow fight we were watching, and that was phenomenal. We got Uryu clapping not only Ichigo but Renji too. He has beaten 2 of his former friends. And like, when I'm talking former friends, like people that live in the Soul Society, Soul Reapers, I would say Rukia and Renji are the 2 that are the closest to Ichigo and his group of friends. Uryu has literally fought side by side with Renji on multiple occasions. Fucked him up, dude. He fucking sent a arrow through my man's chest. He put him into the Donut Club. And same with Ichigo to a degree, but Ichigo got brought back to life by Orihime. It's wild. It's been an absolutely wild anime. Now, I want to say, again, it's not over yet. We still got a couple more episodes. The highlights for me, I would say, are probably the Uryu stuff. I think that is by far one of my favorite fights that I've seen from Uryu, period. And then just in general, like one of my favorite fights. At the same time, Uryu is his own person. Like you have to let your friends make their own choices, make their own mistakes. And at the same time, you have to understand that he's not making this decision just based on the fact that he's like, oh, cool, I'm quit. Soul Reapers suck, man. He's like, no. Soul Reapers and Quincy's are inherently enemies. They have been enemies for centuries. And even though we are friends, even though you and I as humans are friends, I am not, and you're an ally to, I am not the ally to the Soul Reapers, and I am not your ally when you are a Soul Reaper. Uryu is a Quincy. At the end of the day, he is a Quincy. And he has to make those hard decisions that we are seeing, and he'll have to continue to make more decisions. I really want to see more Uryu throughout this arc, and even throughout like the next arc too, because there's still one more core that's supposed to be going on. Um, I can't wait for it. I genuinely cannot wait for it. Like I'm rocking back and forth talking about this because it gets me so pumped to talk about this anime. I've said it before, but this is one of those animes I watched when I was a kid. I remember like going watching weekly fucking through like the Arankar arc, and then going into the actual fight in what is it, Fake Katakura Town. Like, oh my god, it was so hype every week. I loved it so much. Just a passion, just a passion, just a joy in my heart. And they're doing such a good job with this, with the new series, well, with this final arc, that I'm just so happy about it. I do think one of my critiques for this anime, for this like arc in general, or this chapter, whatever you want to call it, um I don't think I don't think the crew. I still don't think the crew's done enough. I don't think Orihime's done enough. I don't think Ganju's done enough. I don't think Chad's done enough. I just don't. And that's just how it's. And I think that's going to be my opinion for the rest of the series, because they are not. They just simply cannot stand at this level. Compete at this level with all the other characters here. They're not going to compete with Askin. They're not going to compete with Gerard or Lil or Pernator. They would all be dead. The only one that they may actually be able to like fight and survive more than like 5 seconds against would be probably Gerard, because they would have to kill Gerard and make him in order for him to actually get stronger. But he's already probably stronger than they are now, so he wouldn't. Yeah, like Askin has the death ball, so he would just kill. He could kill them instantly. Pernator can kill them all instantly. Lil can kill them all instantly. I generally think it's just Gerard is the only one that like, who's like a melee combat fighter. He's the only one that is true of like the Royal Guard that just swings a sword pretty much at them. But yeah, that's like the only thing, because there was like, they literally had a fight. Ganju, Chad, Orihime fought the Royal Guard, and it was, for one, it was all four of them. It was all three, and no, not Yoruichi. Oh, kind of Yoruichi. But anyways, they literally could not beat Gerard by themselves, all three of them. They could not even so much as give him a challenge. Dude was going light work on them. And it just goes to show that they really cannot compete. And they even said, like, once they came back, well, once they showed them again after saving Ichigo, they were like, oh, we'll get them next time. Like, we're ready for it. It's like, you're not going to get them next time. You're not going to get them next time. Don't fight them again. You guys will die. It's just how it goes. But yeah, so with that said, that's kind of my only critique in terms of like the story so far. Because I don't think the pacing is bad. I think the pacing is amazing. I think the animation is amazing. I think the fight, yeah, okay. I'm going to put it in fantastic. I think I'm going to put it in fantastic above Dungeon Meshi. Not Dungeon Meshi. My bad. What's it? Is it called, actually, is that the... I always forget. The way I always say is, do not pick girls up in a. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? I mean, that's kind of what I like to say, even though it's the longest fucking name. I like it. Anyways, that's where that's gonna go. Oh my god, we have Orb next. Okay, all right. So for the next one, oh yeah, it's Orb. Oh brother. Oh man, this anime stinks. I hate this anime. I'm so. I'm kidding. Dude, I fucking love Orb. I mean, I can already tell you, I mean, if you've watched any of the watch parties with me watching this anime, you can definitely tell where I'm going to put this one. But before I put it actually up there, let's talk about it a little bit. So, Orb. It is phenomenal. I definitely have said this before. I've said this plenty of times, but it is kind of my anime of the season. I can't think of a better one. Some people, I mean, there are definitely people that would disagree with that statement, that would say like Dandadan is a very good one, or even the new season of like Bleach, or Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Like there are probably people that would debate that one. However, here's why I think this is the best anime currently out. For one, it is a extremely original idea in the sense of no other anime has tackled astronomy to this degree. Especially a historical style anime that literally goes back to 15th century Poland, where you learn it, where it's literally it's in the time where people believe that the Earth is the center of the universe and all this other stuff. Religion is a big part of society, and we have to and we're following the progression of an ideal pretty much, and how it gets passed down, and a concept of how it gets passed down from one person to the next, and how by passing on what is essentially an inherited will, an inherited dream, however you want to call it. Again, I'm a One Piece guy, so for me, that's what I constantly keep seeing like reaffirmed and seeing as like a premise in this story. We had Hubert pass on his ideal to Raftal, who passed it on to whoever found the box next, who was some random scholar. That scholar then passed it on to Oxy and the other guy. And then that other guy kind of passed on his own dream onto Oxy, or like his will to live. So you continuously see a progression of one to the next, and now we're about to see the next one, because with how the last episode ended, I'm so excited. I can't wait for the next episode, and it will be continuing into the winter. So we are kind of only halfway through this anime right now, but I am safe in saying that there's really nothing else that's kind of like this. The way that the direction that's going, I can say with full confidence that it is going in a very good direction. I feel like the story is going to progress in a very, very good speed and good rate. We're going to see a lot of character development. We're going to see the concept of inherited will continuously pop up even more so in these next couple of chapters, these next couple of episodes. And yeah, not to mention, I love the opening. I love the ending. I'm still waiting for like the actual song to come out, so that way I can download it. Anyways, I think it is by far phenomenal. Again, we're not taught, this isn't science in the aspect of like Dr. Stone, where they're telling you how to make chemical reactions, how they're telling you how to like make batteries, or how glass is made, stuff like that. This is the active pursuit of someone who does not have the knowledge, searching for and attaining that knowledge themselves, being the first ones to attain that knowledge and trying to enlighten others to that knowledge, while also being stifled by an oppressive authority that will persecute and even kill you and others that think like you for having those ideas. Pretty insane. An amazing story where I think the way the characters are being portrayed and created are phenomenal. Like Oxy, you really do feel for him. You can see where why his beliefs have caused him to think the way that he does. Same with Yolenta, who because of her gender and her position, she knows that she's unable to achieve certain things, but you hope and you're like, I want her to achieve them. You're pulling for these characters. And then you see people like Raftal, dude. Raftal, who is a young boy. We're not talking a man. We're not talking someone who is in like their 20s or 30s. We're talking someone who is still in their teens. Took his own life in order to protect the future, in order to protect knowledge and preserve knowledge for the future. Not to mention, we got characters like Novak, who's an absolute legend, he was there with Raftal, and now he's a full-grown adult, and I mean, I don't know. I feel like at some point Raftal has to pop back into this man's mind, because how many times has he seen a child take their own life who was around the same age as his child Yolenta was at the time? Wild. Then we also have the priest who, like, we understand that why he has that. Well, we understand it's a pursuit for knowledge, and that he wants to prove that. Well, it's very similar with a lot of them. They want to prove that the world isn't an ugly place and that the world is beautiful. God's creation is beautiful, which I think is also another very good theme in the story. Is that, like, people will persecute you for things that are not true. Like, they'll say that you're a heretic, that you're going against God, that you made a pact with the devil. But in reality, these guys are doing it because they see the fact that the world is imperfect and not beautiful as an abhorrent, blasphemous thing to say to have against God. The world and the universe must be beautiful because God is beautiful. That's the logic. And it gets twisted and warped because because if they were to prove their theories, it would force the church to have to rethink things and rethink their place in the world, and that doesn't jive with their idea for power. But yeah, so that's kind of that for Orb. I mean, I could go on a rant for this for probably like another like 10-15 minutes. I really want to, talking about like each individual character and how their progression and their growth, how they've in some way, shape, or form contributed to the future of society, or the future of their society and of this ideal. Not to mention, real quick, I will go on this. This will be the last tangent, and then I'll give it its placing. I will say we have also seen the death of a dream in this anime as well. Not just the pursuit of a dream, but the death of one as well. Count, I always mispronounce his name, but Yolenta, the elderly scholar at Yolenta's laboratory that everyone kind of works for, he had the idea of a geocentric world. He had this model getting ready to be made. He was going to prove it. He was going to unveil it and all this other stuff. But he had this one doubt, this single doubt from when he was young, for when he saw Venus in its final phase. And because he challenged Oxy to see it and if he would be able to see it, and he did see it, that disproved everything that he had been working towards for all those decades and all those and like his predecessor too. His predecessor had been working on this theory before he did and passed it on to him. He passed on his dream and his pursuit of knowledge onto the current count that we saw, and we saw with that count the knowledge die. We saw with that guy, and he was saying, and he mentioned like how many people, like all these people's dreams, all these people, at least hopefully these observations can help you with your thing, and they'll actually be able to be accredited. They'll actually, like, it won't seem like their effort was for naught. And that's the whole point of it, is that he knows his dream has officially died there, but he's passing on the dream to someone else. He's passing on the information to someone else who has a dream that can help hopefully prove theirs, and it'll give the people that sacrifice their lives for the initial observations some validation. Ugh. That was a long one. Anyways, that's going to be, for sure, peak. Peak. We are going to be going over Dandadan. And, I mean, we got one more episode in the season, which, obviously, because it's only a 12, I think it's 12 episode season for this one. I honestly wish this was a 25. If this was 25, it would have been closer to Dandadan. I'm not Dandadan. It would have been closer to Orb, just because I think they might have been able to get more out, and there might just be more content to like dive into. But based upon what we know, based upon what we're getting, and what the first season is, I do have to say, Orb in my opinion is better. I love Dandadan. I say this every time we watch it. I think Dandadan is a brilliant anime in the sense that it does what it does phenomenally. Not just good, it does it extremely fucking well. Dandadan is a shonen anime and a comedy. My favorite part of the whole series is the interactions between the characters. I love like laughing my ass off to seeing how Okuran and Momo interact, how Okuran and Ira react, how Momo and Biji, I don't know, Biji act, Like, I love seeing how all these interactions coalesce and to create the dynamic between the characters and the cast. I think the fights are really good. I think the way the fighting animation is done is really good. Now, are the fights like super actiony packed? Like, is Okarun running up to these guys and like kicking them in the face multiple times like at super speed? No, it's just not what's happening. You know, he's not actively using. He's not like fucking Sanji from One Piece. But I love his transform. I love the transformation, like what he looks like when he's transformed, and then also the actual transforming into his character or into his powers. So keeping that all in the mind, I think this is the other peak anime of the season. This is my second choice, not my first. My first is Orb, but this is a very, very close second. A very close second, because I think there's just a couple of things that really separate the two. And I've said this before, it's hard to actually separate and like give a rating to these two and say one's better than the other because they are so different. This is a fighting anime. This is a fighting shonen anime, and this is a historical scientific anime. You understand why these two, it's like trying to compare the flavor of meat to like the flavor of beef to the flavor of like, I don't know, an apple. Next on this list, we have Shangri-La Frontier. I'm really liking this second season. I think it's actually really good. I think there's a lot of not world building. Well, I guess world building, but plot progression. That's a good way to say it. There's a lot of plot progression in this where they're trying to figure out like these unique scenarios. Everyone's kind of trying to figure it out. We're getting some more clues as to what the next one could be and who the next big fight's gonna be. I'm hoping they're gonna fight that Kraken thing. That would be sick. But there is, it's not something that is really changing the meta. It's not going too out of the box. It's an anime about people logging into video games in a video game world. Now, it's no first season of Sword Art Online, in my opinion. The first season of Sword Art Online is literally one of the best like game animes and just like seasons in general of all of them. I would say another one is like No Game No Life is really high up there too. I would say Shangri-La is also up there just for how like interesting the characters are. But in terms of like how unique the plot is, it's not really too unique, but I am really liking it. I think Sunraku is a fucking legend. Man is a metagamer and he uses cheese strat all the time. I think it's doing really good with what's kind of going on right now. The anime itself, like the actual like animation, is phenomenal. As always, they usually do a very good job with it. They've introduced they're introducing new characters, which is always a plus. And I am interested to learn and see them be more interactive within the group because I like, what was her name? Rust. I like Rust's like character model. I hope it looks the same as when she logs into Shangri-La. I either hope it's the exact same model or it's a completely different one and it's like hilarious. It's not like another like cute woman. It's like a small dwarf. That would be hilarious. Like I said, there's some pretty good plot progression. We're not at a point where it's hit like its peak or its climax yet, so I can't say how like it's been on its highest high. But I definitely do think that they are doing some good things for the setup, and I think that they're establishing more character development and relationships between different people and all that type of stuff. So I do think this is a very good season, though. All in all, I think this season is very good. Is it as good as the first season? Probably not. Probably not, in my opinion, just because the first season felt really new and everything like that. That's always the issue with season 2 is that the season 1 is new. The season 1 is the new, the shiny, the new toy and everything like that. Season 2, you already know the characters, you know the general plot of how the story of like what the story's about. I think it is still very, very good. I would put it probably at, would I put it at otaku food? I'm thinking I either put it at otaku food, like above Blue Wolves, because it is, like I said, it's good. It gives you everything you want. But is it something that goes above? Is there anything that particularly goes above and beyond in the anime that makes me like truly like it? The next one we got is the second season of Tower of God. Actually, I'm liking the second season. I know a lot of people aren't, and it's kind of, there are like animation issues that people are having. Basically never. We'll see. We'll see. But in terms of, if you've read the manhwa, which I have, I'm all caught up to date on it. I literally started reading this shit fucking years ago. I read this stuff when this shit was still like in like the first 100 chapters of it. This shit, not even first 100 chapters, first like under 100 chapters. I remember literally reading this week to week for fucking years. And the first like, this is my opinion, the first like 3 arcs, I would say 3 or 4 arcs. Yeah, no. I would say the first 3 arcs are pretty much like boring. Not all right. They're interesting. They were interesting when I first started reading it and everything like that. However, now with everything that I know about the series, it definitely is like a boring aspect of the series. It's build up, it's establishing everything of the world, but it's not like super crazy as to where it's gonna be in the next couple of arcs. Like once they get to the train, and once they all finally meet up, stuff is gonna go wild, and then there's going to be a period of time where Bam has to learn about Rachel, and once he's done with that, life will be good. Life will be fucking fantastic, but that's not going to be for a while. And honestly, that's what I say. It could be like season 4 for something like that. There will be some frustration for sure from people as they watch this, whether it be animation or whether it be the story itself. There will obviously be contention, but it is a very good story, and it does tell a lot if you really pay attention to it. So this is honestly kind of either the lowest of background, the lowest of otaku, or it's like background noise somewhere up here, mainly due to the fact that I'd probably put it in good and like otaku food, because I do enjoy it and I'll like actively watch this. But for one, I know what's going to happen. And 2, I also know that this part and these characters here, they're not my favorite. These characters are not my favorite, the ones that we're currently seeing. My favorite are Yuri Jihad, Bam, obviously. I mean, we do see a lot of Bam. That is one thing. But not this version of Bam. A future version of Bam is kind of like my favorite version of him. Bam, Kun, Yuri. Let's see. I like Yama a lot, but he wouldn't be for fucking a long time. But anyways, he's actually, funny enough, he has been referenced already. Bay Lord Yama, he is referenced in this season, because he's the one who created the Mad Dogs, which is why, you know what, I'm moving it above Miburo, because there's like build up to it. I do like it. I do think the characters are better than the characters in the ones in Miburo, and that was kind of like my reasoning for putting it down here in otaku food to a degree, was the fact that the characters are a little lackluster. Now, this is not an anime. Well, this is not an anime series. This is Look Back, guys. Hey, look. It's Look Back. We watched this together. We all watched this. This was fucking phenomenal. This was amazing. This was absolutely peak. And by all definitions, I would call it peak. I mean, there's not really too much to say about it, because it's not a series. It's a movie, so it has a start and a finish. But I think the story itself was amazing. It had me on the verge of tears. It was so good. The display of the relationship and how they grow, and then we see the struggles and the separation, and what happens to one of them, and an alternate like reality to things, just separating them from a thinly veiled door. Like, it is incredible. I loved it. The only thing that does make me sad is that there wasn't a little more to it, that the movie wasn't longer. I wish that movie was like another probably 20 minutes at least. And like, I could imagine it doing some amazing stuff in that amount of time. But It was very good. It was about two girls, but one was the comic artist for the class, and she enjoyed it. She thought very highly of herself. She thought of it just like a fun little hobby or something like that. She didn't really try too hard, and she thought that because she didn't try hard and other people couldn't even do that, that she was better. A bit of like a superiority complex going on. And then she found out that then this other girl wanted to start drawing, so wanted to do some of the comics, and she said yes. She agreed to sharing it, and she realized that other girl was a better drawer than her. She competed. She was trying to compete with her. She realized she couldn't beat her. She quit for a while, and then when she's eventually graduating, I think elementary school, she goes to deliver her diploma because the other girl has never been to school. They develop a friendship where they basically are co-working on creating manga and stuff like that, one-shots and one-shots and stuff like that. I shouldn't give away literally every single plot point of it, but I loved it so much. And by all means, I mean, I said that there might be two. And this is why I said I said there might be three, and this is why I said there might be three, because this is absolutely a phenomenal piece of work. I think the reason why it's peak is because of how well told the story is, and how well you can connect to these characters, and you can understand their grievances and their motivations and everything like that. Yeah, that's why it's going in peak. Now, Mao 2099, Demon Lord 2099. We're almost done here, gamers. I genuinely think this is like a good average anime. That's the best way to say it. It's a good average anime. It just kind of like with Mibro and some of the other ones I've been saying, they give you everything that you're kind of asking for. I do think some of the concepts are interesting, like the fact that he gets stronger by gaining followers and believers, and so he becomes a fucking streamer. I thought that was like really funny and a really good like gag, but it's just a gag, and it's not really like the whole premise of the story itself. Like, he's not a streamer. He's not, well, he does not want to. This is not an anime about a streamer. This is an anime about a demon lord who wants to reconquer the world. I like the characters. The antagonists are actually really good. The way the first antagonist was displayed was very good. Granted, now it seems like there's almost no one in the world that can compete with this guy, so he's just very OP, which I think which kind of detracts from some of it, in my opinion, because I enjoy when, even though he is the former demon lord, I don't want him to be the absolute strongest entity in the whole verse. But yes, and that's kind of what I'm fearing with Demon Lord, because it doesn't seem like there's anyone stronger than him right now. I could be wrong, and there could be even more stuff that comes up. I mean, we're in a very interesting spot where it seems like they're about to introduce a angel or a celestial of some kind. So that would be a very interesting plot turn, but we shall see. That's kind of those are my thoughts on the anime for the most part. But I can say that it is a fun watch, and if you're really just looking for something to like, not have it, well, you could have in the background and playing, but you could also just watch it and like get some good laughs. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for it. I'm thinking about where I'd want to put it. Definitely, I don't think I'd put it, if I was to put it in background noise, it would be like the top of background noise, because it very much is good. It does have a good narrative, and like you can follow it, and the characters are interesting. I'm gonna put it in the otaku food is getting fed. Otakus are getting fed today, huh? I'm gonna put it above Tower of God, 'cause I think that's a little interesting. And with that, we've moved on to the last anime here, guys. The last one is Uzumaki. Oh, I'm so sorry. I actually wouldn't. Now, okay, Uzumaki is definitely the last one. It is definitely like on the bottom of the barrel here. Now the question is it worse than Prince of Tennis? I want to say yes. I want to say yes for a couple of reasons. They messed with the timeline from the source material, which in some cases was all right, in some cases it was bad, and in other cases it was egregious. It was downright awful. It was hard to watch. Now, the animation, I will say, first episode, amazing. Second episode, awful. Third and fourth episode, okay. Not as bad as the second episode, not as good as the first episode, but it was okay. There were some very egregious things, like the Jack in the Box thing. To this day, I still think of, and I'm like, yeah, that was so bad. I would have just cut it out of the anime entirely. Like, if they were gonna actually do that to my boy, to the Jack in the Box story, and butcher it like how they did, they really should have just cut it out of the story. And a lot of them had very similar premises where like stuff would happen and it would be almost unexplained, or like it'd be very like it'd feel like it's jumping, which it was. So all in all, like I said, it is a very poor representation of Uzumaki and Junji Ito's work as a whole. Um, because there are things that I can look past. Like I've said it before, I've said it even when I was watching it. I can look past the bad animation to a degree, but it's the bad storytelling, and it's the bad timeline, and it's the bad character writing, and it's the bad dialogue. It's all these things that are culminating into such a horrible dumpster fire. It just makes me very sad. The ending, I'm not even gonna go over the ending. A lot of people say the ending was bad. I actually did not read the ending of the manga, so I can't really say too much. I will say it wasn't like awful, but it was a little weird. I did like them reincarnating, like the whole cycle of reincarnation, and like them almost switching places and switching looks. But yeah, that's about it for that one. I'd definitely put that at the bottom of the tier. Out of everything, definitely the bottom. Hey, what is up? You are an absolute legend if you made it this far in the video. I really appreciate it, and if you could just do me one more quick favor, hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really helps me out. I stream on Twitch Wednesdays to Saturdays, starting around 12 p.m. EST. And yeah, there's plenty of crazy unhinged madness that goes on over there too. So I hope to see you there, and I'll catch you in the next video.